All right, welcome to my first UFL show and for my Coaching the Cowboys episode 8, I think we're at now. So kind of got my new studio set up here. Trying out this, see a live screen, put the last season's champion down there. You can see we got the Chargers down below on the desk down there. They were our last Super Bowl champ. We're in the last week or almost the last week of the season, so it's fixing to get exciting. Teams are pumped, wanting to play. Some teams are trying to stink it up, I guess, and get that first round pick. We actually have a player in our rookie season with the last name Madden. I don't think I've ever seen that. And he's quarterback with some decent stats. I mean, I'm I'm just assuming his last name's Madden. He's got to be a stud if he's in the game and he's in Madden. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen that playing Madden. I think maybe there's been one, I just haven't noticed it, but it'd be interesting to see. So we're in week 16, trying to advance to week 17 soon, I believe. Kind of want to give a recap on the playoffs and the AFC, NFC. Try to keep this short, down to like 10 minutes if I can. And about to do this and see what we got. All right, so we'll look at it and go. So here we go. Go see if I can switch over here to the studio real quick. We're going to look at the power rankings real fast before we look at the playoffs. All right, so here we go. We got episode 8, Coaching the Cowboys, looking at the power rankings on the Xbox here. So you can see the Green Bay Packers are ranked number 1. And we got, this is before this week, I believe the Las Vegas Raiders got beat this week. We'll check that out. Then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ranked number 3, and I believe it was the Jets who beat the Chargers this week. So, and then you got the Titans, Panthers, Cardinals, Jags, and the Lions. All of these I think are playoff teams. The Jags might be on the fence, but we'll check a look at that here in a second and see. So if we scroll up and look and see some of the scores this week, see what we got here. Yeah, so we just got a few games we played. Unfortunately, my game probably won't get played this week because my opponent seemed to be checked out. I haven't seen him for a while. I haven't seen him posting. It's kind of disappointing when that happens because it kind of be exciting to finish out the game. My next week's game should be super exciting, but this week we see all the games here. The game of the week, the Jets and the Chargers. The Jets pulled off by 1 point against the Chargers. That was a pretty big statement game right there. This could very well be a rematch in the playoffs coming up soon. This would be exciting to see. Yeah, let's see. I guess it wasn't the Raiders. I think the Raiders are still chugging along, right? So they're playing pretty hard. Let's go actually look at some of the stats in the game and kind of look at the playoffs. So if you look at the AFC over here, we got the Raiders, we got the Jets, Titans, the Browns, who look to be sneaking in, and we'll look and see how that division's played out in a second. We'll flip over to Madden, and the Chargers, and then we got the Jaguars sitting here with the 5 losses. Looks like those teams are pretty well set. Here, how many games is that? That's 14, 15. They got 1 game left. If they lose that 1 game and the Bengals win, they could possibly tie. So we'll go look at that and see how this shakes out, because that could be a tie, but head-to-head, the Browns may have it. We'll have to check on that in a minute and see. And then you got over here, you got the NFC, the Packers, the Bucks. This is like a showdown waiting to happen. You got the Cardinals. Redskins, they lost this week on a heartbreaker, which is probably gonna knock them out of this position. And then you got the Panthers and the Lions. And if the Lions lose to the Bears next week, that could be an interesting playoff picture, because you got a couple teams down here trying to get in with 6 wins. You got both the Eagles and the Cowboys. One of these 2 teams is going to come up here, and one of them is probably going to end up be left out. And depending on next week, I think the Eagles got a cakewalk game, so another user that's not here. And then you got the Rams who lost, and the Cowboys. It's going to come down probably one of these 2 will be in. We know the Eagles won't lose out. They got basically a bye week this week, and then they play the team that I played this week. I don't remember who they are. Who do I play? The Colts. When the Colts have been in responsive, so there'll be another sim win. So kind of stinks. The Eagles are going to end with 2 sim wins to go to 10-6, and the Cowboys are going to get a sim win to go to 9-6. And then last week we actually played the Titans. So the Titans are in the playoffs. Maybe they'll bench other players, and we got a shot at winning because we got a big mistake coming up. We'll talk about that in a second too. So let's go look at the playoff picture on the actual Madden. I'm in Madden now, so let's just see if I switch over. So I'm in Madden, checking it out. This is where we're at. Let's go look at the standings real quick, run through them just to make sure, because Daddy Leagues may not be updated. AFC North, no one's clinched according to Madden. When we refresh this over, we'll see if the Browns clinch or not, because I don't know if they got the tiebreaker over the Bengals. Let's go check that real quick and see if they do. Let's see here. All right, we'll go to the Bengals. We'll go to the Browns. Check the Browns. How about that? The Browns make the playoffs. That's awesome. Let's see how they did in the regular season. I think my Xbox may have froze there. Well, maybe it doesn't know about the Browns season. Freaking it out. All right, here we go. So the Bengals, they beat the Bengals game 1. Ooh, and they tied the Bengals. So I think that does mean they have the tiebreaker. So when we advance, it'll probably Browns have it unless something funky happens and the tiebreaker rules get broken. Because I believe if you have a win and a tie, the one who got the win gets the push. That'll be interesting. They play the Bills. So let's go back and check that standings again. So I think the AFC might be set. We might be set in the AFC. It's going to be exciting to see. I'm going to try to do a recap after each round of the playoffs. I'll go back to my studio screen. That's what I'm going to try to do it in. Try to figure out how to get some highlights or something in there. I know teams talk about doing so. So here, I think we got the Browns got that in. Titans locked in the playoffs. Jags aren't locked yet. Maybe after the advance they will be. I think that 10th win put them in the locks. If they go to 10, even if they lose at 10-6, I don't. Oh, they could be. It could be a fall for that final position. If the Jags lose and go to 10-6, and in the AFC East, that should be a wrap. The Jets have that one wrapped up. But in the AFC West, you got the Raiders and Chargers here. So I believe they're all set, because if they lose, they'd be 11-5. Yeah, they'd be 10-6. That is it. They're in the playoffs. So the playoffs are set. We're going to have the Jaguars in the last seed. Going to have the Titans here who locked it down. In the AFC East, we got the Jets who are rolling. They're strong. I think I may have put these guys on the back burner a little too early. I didn't watch a lot of their streams, but I've been catching them. These guys are good. I think this could potentially be an AFC championship team here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this West turns out the Chargers and the Raiders. The Raiders are hot, and their defense is insane. Look at some of those stats. But let's look at the NFC real quick, because this is going to be interesting. There's a few things they could shake up, but I think most things are locked. So the Panthers are in, no problems. The Lions are 10-5. So next week, the Lions play the Bears. We really, really need the Bears to beat the Lions. Let's go see how they did last time they played. Go look at that. Because the Cowboys, I actually hold the tiebreaker on the Lions. So if they went to 10-6, and I somehow find a way to win, and I don't win the division and I move down, then we would hold the tiebreaker against the Lions. So that would be pretty amazing. So the last time they played the Bears, they won 19-14 in a close game. So man, hopefully the Bears aren't one of those teams that packed it in and trying to get the wins. But I know Michael, he plays hard every game, so he's going to play this game, try to come out and get it going. So wow, it's at the Bears too. Hope it's cold, snowing. I hope the Detroit banged up. Man, this is going to be a game to watch. The Cowboys will be wearing Bears jersey during this game for sure. But if I don't take care of business against the Titans, which is a very good team, it doesn't even matter. They're in no matter what. So let's go back to the stats then. Check this out, playoff preview. Getting ready for the last week. I'm excited about pumping it up here. And what's amazing is I haven't had my quarterback all season, and we'll look at something here in a second, which is crazy. So the Lions are probably at 80% guaranteed playoff spot. They got to lose, and the Cowboys got to win for them not to get in. I go check their tiebreaker with the Eagles. They may have lost to the Eagles too. So if that's the case, then they're in big trouble. We didn't look at that. We'll check that out here in a second. So these guys are in. Bucks, Panthers. I don't know. The Panthers will be a lock next week because they got that win. The four is going to put them in no matter what. And then this division is going to get funky because both of us are getting cheesy, crappy wins this week, which sucks. But we're both playing teams from the AFC South. We've got two guys who are on hiatus that aren't playing their games. So hopefully they lose their draft picks or no trading or get some new guys in because it's tough whenever that happens. Or maybe they got something going on and it's legitimate. So who knows? I guess I shouldn't say because I really don't know. So we'll move to 9-6, and it's going to be interesting against tiebreaker because we played 1-1 against each other. We have the exact same division record, 3-3, which is bad. We have the exact same division NFC win, 6-6. So it might go to points scored. And if it goes to points scored, then we got a winner there on the Eagles. I've actually had more points scored against me than I've had scored for me. So we had a lot of close games this season. Honestly, finishing 9-7 would be a win. Not playing with Dak Prescott the whole season, except for week 1, which was too laggy to play. Let's go back and look and see about that tiebreaker. So I think in the NFC that the breakdown really is just whether the Lions win or lose, and then who they play. So, and we'll preview some of the matchups coming up whenever the playoffs roll over. Go back to the studio here in a second. Let's check that out real quick on this. Lions. They may not have played the Eagles, but let's see. No, they didn't play the Eagles, so that would be a very interesting tiebreaker. If somehow, whenever we advance and the Cowboys end up in the NFC title, and the Lions lose and they're tied with the Eagles for that spot, I don't know who would get that. Probably the Lions. I think they have a better NFC record than the Eagles, so that's kind of that. Let's go back to the Daddy Leagues real quick before we switch over. All right, so here, I think the playoff bubble. This will be interesting. When the league rolls, I'll kind of do a quick, 2-minute video just to kind of see if everything stayed where it's at. Come to the studios, do a breaking news, like a little 2-minute video, UFL breaking news. Let's take a look at some of these stats. This is what's crazy. So this Phelps rookie, almost 4,000 yards passing. He's thrown a ton of interceptions too. So I really wish they did this on QB rating, which is a little more accurate on how good the quarterback's doing. You got Derek Carr, who's lighting up Aaron Rodgers, and Ben Roethlisberger having a great season. The Steelers really are a team that played much better than their record. They're a good team. If they make a few tweaks, they're going to be a force to be dealt with next season for sure. And then the rushing leaders, you got Leonard Fournette here, who's taking the lead over Gurley. Gurley hasn't played yet, so I think Gurley will play tonight. Probably take that lead right back, depending unless he gets completely shut down. Coleman, who got hurt in a great season, got Johnson, and then on receiving, Martavius Bryant. He has went off the changer, 1,500 yards receiving. He may get forced to a little bit there, but he's been part of the Saints' comeback. Be interesting to see how they use him going next season. Pick leader, Matt Ryan, who's up in the passing leaders. Look at that. The rookie up here is not up in the interceptions, but, man, it would take a lot to get there. 57, 43, 41, 30, 38. That's a lot of picks. But then the big interesting is on the defense here. Khalil Mack's got 38.5 sacks. That's insane. Bosa's got 27. Hunter's got 26. And then Griffin got 24. And Campbell's got 17. But 38 sacks. That's insane. That's almost 3 sacks a game. Actually, yeah. Let's see what that is. That's almost 3 sacks a game. That's insane. I think he had 9 sacks in one game, though. So that's a little inflated, but still, without that game, he'd be tied with Bosa. Defensive tackle leaders got Brown leading the way. I think the big story here is let's go look at the rankings before we go back to the studio. So we'll go back here and look at this. So we got the Green Bay Packers at number 1. We're going to flip back to the studio real quick and end it there. I don't even know if it's working, so we'll see when I test this thing. But we got the Green Bay Packers, number 1 ranked team in the UFL. Raiders ranked number 2. Bucks number 3. This is all by UFL, by Daddy Leagues. The Jets and the Chargers and the Titans at number 6. So of the top 6 teams, we're saying that 1, 2, 3, 4 from the AFC and 2 from the NFC. And the number 1 ranked teams from the NFC, so you think the NFC is going to get a Super Bowl. Because if you go back and look at the history of the UFL, the AFC has dominated these Super Bowls. We had Houston win 1, San Diego, the Bears, San Diego, then Kansas City, Houston, Washington. Washington and the Bears finally got 2 NFC Super Bowl champs. And this is when JC went on his run. He got back-to-back. Then the Bengals come in with D Unit. And then the Rams win a Super Bowl. We got the Raiders, the Chargers, and then the Colts come in with Master Keys, who, by the way, happens to be the Green Bay Packers. If you look at his name on here, it's on here a few times. He went to Super Bowl with the Houston Texans, the Colts. Who else has he been to the Super Bowl with? At least one other team, maybe 2. And the Denver Broncos. So he's looking to go to the Super Bowl with 4 different UFL teams, which is crazy. Then you had the Giants come in and win 1. The Raiders. Yeah, it's not a typo. That's like 4 Raiders right there. 3 Raiders in a row. That was the three-peat. He did 2-peat and a 3-peat. And he's done a no-peat since. So I know he's trying to win it this time. It would be good to see him get back in there. And the Minnesota Vikings here won one after a lot of losses in these Super Bowls, I believe, here. Came in. You got the Washington Redskins. The Cardinals won one. Buffalo Bills won one. Master Keys with Buffalo Bills. Did I count that one? I guess I didn't. That's 5 teams. I have to go back and count that in a second. That's unprecedented. 5 teams winning the Super Bowl. So he's basically done it almost every Madden with a different team. So he likes to switch the teams. So he did with the Broncos, number 1. Buffalo Bills, number 2. He must have went to sleep in Madden 15 because he didn't win any games. The Colts here in Madden 25 is 3. The Houston Texans, so that's 4. So am I counting that right? I got 1 Super Bowl with Master Keys there. 2. 3. 4. I thought he won more, but I guess with 4 different teams. That's pretty impressive to win the Super Bowl with 4 teams. 4 different teams at that. That's what's crazy. Been a long day, so maybe I miscounted that. But man, that is crazy. Gonna cut this off. I went a little over. I want to keep them at 10 minutes. I went to 16. But going forward, I'm trying to keep these at 10. Do a little highlight show. Maybe get some UFL highlights going up here. But a little studio here is pretty cool. But we'll try to get some highlights going.